go this time on a three-man rush. Gonna backpedal, 5 more time. Gotta be somebody open now, yes? Yes, there is! Like I said, another three-man rush right here.
Hello and welcome in. All right. Cut the music. I can't even fucking fake this anymore. Sorry, Mom. The wrong teams won. It was supposed to be the Bengals. It was supposed to be the 49ers. BCB leading the charge. Now all he got is a torn UCL. I'm in black here. Morning. The 30-1 odds I had for the 49ers to beat the Bengals in the Super Bowl. I'm your host, Pat Bradley, joined as always by Carl and Tommy. And this is the Three-Man Rush podcast, America's most beloved casual NFL gambling podcast from the most casual NFL gambler on the face of this stupid-ass planet. I love this podcast. I love football. I love both of you. Why do we gamble? Carl, Tommy, take it away.
I mean, I was going to let you take it first, Tommy. I mean, you were going to take your victory lap. You were ready.
I was ready. I was going to shout out the intro, and then he finished it all melancholy and like. But we gamble because we win, or at least in my case, that's why I do it. I don't know about you two, but I'm sitting on a little pile of cash over here. I'm ready to lose it all for the Super Bowl, but I built up the funds a bit that I can go a little wild.
A lot of fun coupons for you.
Yeah, exactly.
Minimum ticket price before fees is almost $5,000. So
I don't have that much. But I can maybe scrounge on if somebody wants to fit me in their luggage, I can get a flight to Arizona. But other than that, that's about as far as I'm making it.
Yeah, we got a place for you out there.
I was gonna make a joke about the overweight baggage fees.
I wouldn't be able to fit into luggage. Yeah, no, that's fair.
I believe that we could find a way to squeeze you in and zip it shut. But you might spend all your fun coupons on the airline fees.
That's fair.
Get it in the cargo hold.
Just stuff me into like a Saint Bernard type dog cage, and I'll just run around in the bottom of the plane with the other puppers.
I don't think they let them free. I don't think they're allowed to just run around.
I would let them free. I have the opposable thumbs.
Oh, you want to know something? This is not even funny. This is not related. I looked that up the other day because I had a random idea. I was like, oh my God, people actually do that. It's completely unsafe to put your animal in a cargo hold. And airlines basically do nothing if your pet dies. Anyway, it's fitting for the 1-5 record I had this weekend, championship weekend, to be so morbid. But we're gonna move on from animals and planes. Just register your animal as a support animal. It is your emotional support animal. Bring it on a plane. Don't cargo board your pet, people. God.
Or don't take them on a trip at all.
Yeah. Like put them in. Yeah, exactly. Leave them home.
Alone with no food.
No, Carl. That's how I feel actually after watching football this weekend. It's like I've been left alone at home with no food and no way to feed myself. That's kind of how I feel.
You went full morbid with 1-5. Carl went slightly less morbid because he went 2-4,
mm-hmm.
and I'm all optimism because I went 5-1 to round out the records.
Unbelievable. So you're just on a heater here in the playoffs, Tommy. Again, reminder, we've tweaked the format a little bit. So for all the playoff games, we picked a straight up winner. We picked against the spread like we do all season long, and then we picked the totals, the over or the under for the game, which means with 2 games, we had 6 things to pick last weekend. So, Tommy, you are 26-9-1 on the postseason.
Mm-hmm.
Comfortably in first place. And actually, you have clinched. You could lose all 3 of the Super Bowl, and Carl could win all 3, and you won the postseason because Carl is 22-13-1. I'm 19-16-1, which
we should pick the MVP. We should pick the MVP also,
just as a special tiebreaker.
And it's worth 2 points.
Ooh, you know what? I kind of like
Super Bowl MVP.
How about worth 5 points?
Wow.
So how about you don't get any loss points, but if you get the Super Bowl MVP,
you get a bonus points.
All right, that's fair.
All right.
All right.
Do I?
Tommy has to pick first
That's fine. Oh, so
Do
you're
I-
giving me the whole pool of players. That's great. Thanks.
Do I
should make it-
retroactively lose points because I literally lost bets and fun coupons by betting on both Brock Purdy and Christian McCaffrey like a month ago to win Super Bowl MVP?
Yikes.
It was like, hey, I got myself covered here, and it's only covered if they make it to the Super Bowl. So I'm so mad, guys. I had
I don't think
49ers
you know how-
to win.
I don't think you know how hedging works.
No, I'm
It's
like
like different teams.
hedging's for losers, right, Carl?
Yes. Cashing out is for losers.
Yeah, both. Listen, like I had the 49ers to win the Super Bowl back in October at great odds. A month ago at 30-1, I had 49ers over Bengals. I couldn't believe the jabronis at DraftKings were giving me those odds. I just it's been a tough like 2 days. And the whole time, like Carl, like you and I had like real life Skittles on this game, and Tommy's just like ha 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 losers in our group text like the entire time. And I was, what did I say to you? I'm like, there's too many real world Skittles on this game for me to handle Tommy not rooting for our bets right now.
Rooting for the podcast.
I was like actually mad. It was so
It's
the worst.
fantastic. That's why I upped the shit talk in the text chain over the weekend.
well done by you.
I mean, you deserve it when you're winning. You can
absolutely.
It was especially, and I had to especially do it for Frank Clark and Chris Jones because I singled them out on the pod when I was talking about the Chiefs defense, and they were a lot for Joe Burrow to handle.
The best part was I got excited when Mahomes just uncharacteristically lost the fumble. Like it just popped off his hands on that snap. I sent you guys like the if you guys know James Draws on TikTok.
Oh, yeah.
He's the what happened kid. And I just sent like all caps Patrick Mahomes and like a James Draws meme. And now it's like Pat Bradley. What happened? How could you go 1-5 against Tommy Sullivan? That's like James has got.
That was so good.
I wish, man, I wish James. Can we get James on the podcast? We couldn't book Santa. We have to be able to get James.
I don't know, man.
Just to roast me. Maybe he's on Cameo. I would pay for that just to get roasted by James. I would. God, it was a rough Sunday. But hey, we've got 2 weeks to recover. And we have a lot of football to talk about, but there's no game this weekend. So
That's a lie.
It's a Pro Bowl erasure.
Well, okay. They don't even play a real football game anymore.
No,
They just
isn't
do
it
like
touch?
it's
It's
like
flag.
they have like they have flag, but then like
They're doing
They
like
have
longest drive, dude. There's
skills.
so much we could probably bet
yeah,
on.
like they're golfing. There's a million things that we can bet on. I don't
Josh
know if
Allen.
DraftKings
I was just gonna
has
say
them.
they're golfing like Josh Allen.
So funny. Josh Allen pulled out of the Pro Bowl because of his quote unquote injury, which we know he does actually have an injury. But then he's this week playing in the Pebble Beach Pro-Am tournament.
I'm pretty sure it was last week on the podcast. You were like, "How crazy is it that Josh Allen has this freak injury that we never see in football?" And then Brock Purdy gets it
The worst version.
Third fucking play of the game, he actually tore his UCL.
He actually started the game and finished the game without an incompletion, and they lost the game and got blown out.
Unbelievable. Like
Very believable.
I started the game, ended the game, did not throw an incompletion, and they lost by 700,000 points.
Yeah. If someone told you Brock Purdy would start the game, end the game, and not throw an incompletion the whole time, do you think they won the game?
If somebody told me that, I would have the red flags of being like, "Why are you qualifying starting?"
why are you joking? That's a good point. That's a good point.
How about Jimmy G just laughing on the sideline like, "You guys,
Experts
you
know
lost this
control.
game." Yeah.
Speaking of Jimmy G and like a need for quarterbacks there in San Francisco, I was going to talk about this later, but let's just get this out of the way. Like Tom Brady has to go to the 49ers now, right?
Yeah, 100%.
I mean, unless Carl and I've in the pre-show meeting, we were just talking about how great it would be for Tom Brady to be a Patriot again. But I just like
Some other things have to happen, but
so I'm gonna like I'm going to argue against myself here because the logical choice is, quote unquote, according to rumors, maybe like Vegas. But the whole thing about like, well, Tom Brady doesn't want to be away from his kids, so Vegas doesn't make sense. I kind of agree with, except for the fact like it's 1 year and you're in like hyper midlife crisis mode.
Mhm.
Like you already divorced your wife. She already took them to the other side of Florida. You're already leaving Tampa Bay. You're not going to the Dolphins, or maybe you are if Tua is out forever. I just like Tom Brady's mom. Like I don't want to like again not to get morbid. Like his mom had cancer a couple years ago. Like these kids are young. You don't want to miss that, but they're a little bit older. So it's like I don't know. I look like the 49ers have like 5 East Coast games this year. That's not terrible in an 18-week NFL season.
Well, and the
It's
other
not
thing
great. It's not seeing your kids 24/7. Go ahead, Tommy. Sorry.
well, no, and the other thing is like kids get to see their grandparents at their grandparents' house. Like that's the
Yeah.
other side of it. I don't think him going to. I could see Vegas because there's no other family near there, but in San Francisco, there's family there.
I like San Francisco. I mean, I don't want him to go to San Francisco, but I don't think Vegas makes sense because
They're just not good.
you need a defense. I mean, he would have weapons, I guess, with the people they have there, but like they have no defense. At least San Francisco has a defense.
He's got weapons in Tampa Bay too. So it's I don't think it's just about that, but I do think like the coaching's better in San Francisco. The weapons are definitely better, arguably the best weapons in football.
I think the one thing that, well, I mean, we saw Brady do it in New England, but the game's changing and he's obviously getting older. They line up under center, in my opinion, too much. They're designed to get like quick passes out, but I feel like Brady benefits from being back in a shotgun now, seeing the field, and then making those reads from there. So I don't know if San Francisco's offense is necessarily built for him, but it is built on play action, motion, quick reads, quick passes, and like Brady is really good at like pre-snap reads. So
yeah, I mean, listen, all you got to be able to do in San Francisco is not turn the ball over and make like good check down throws. The thing that Brady always relies on, and really what has made him good, because I think he's, as the NFL rules changed from being an extremely violent sport to just like a mostly violent sport, everybody started going over the middle, and it used to be a bad thing when you would, as a quarterback, you would lead your receivers or your tight ends over the middle, because that's how like Ben Coates today, we're talking about Ben Coates as like maybe one of the best tight ends of all time. But when he played, he just got destroyed. And within 3 years, like his career was basically peaked and done. Brady throws over the middle, and that's how he has excelled and exceeded his entire career. So if you can get a guy like, I don't know, maybe it's George Kittle, although he's a glass cannon, right? I don't know. Regardless, like all you have to do in San Francisco is just get the ball out to somebody in space. There's like levels of checkdowns, essentially, is the way that it works. And then they're dynamic, explosive playmakers, and they're just going to get the job done. And your defense is amazing and is going to help you out too. I don't know. Like I think Brock Purdy could have done it. We'll never know, which is too bad because his career might be over.
I guess it's my turn to be career morbid, but I think the script is he signs with San Francisco, and then because he's in San Francisco, he really does follow the suit of Joe Montana on the 1-year experiment is when he just gets hurt, and that's the end of his career. I think that's where the script is heading, personally.
Well, it's freaking cursed there too.
Yeah.
So all of these guys, it's
like I don't think like people are talking about like what's the deal with Kyle Shanahan's offenses and quarterbacks, but like he had Matt Ryan as his when he was the coordinator in Atlanta for how long, and he was fine. I think that they're just on like a hell of a string of bad luck. Like I don't think it's Kyle Shanahan's offense, which is what some people online are questioning, but
right.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it makes sense for Tom Brady. We'll see what happens. One thing that I don't think we're going to do this next week. Carl, you and I have been talking about this a lot. Aaron Rodgers, Jets. It's got to be the Jets, right? He's not going back to the Packers.
Yeah, I mean, you thought Sean Payton was going to the Jets also, and we just found out he's not. So
you were the one person. I will say you were the one. I've been trying to say for weeks now that it was pretty clear that it was going to be the Broncos.
You have all credit. We've got receipts. We probably won't put screenshots in the podcast, but we have receipts. Tommy's been on the Broncos. I didn't think it makes sense because why do you want to go into a place where you have no assets to trade? You're stuck with Russell Wilson. And I think the defense is overrated. Maybe. Like your defense is really good, but you still won 5 games. So I don't know.
It is really funny to see Broncos fans try to justify it because the first round pick that they're giving up. So the official deal for those that don't know is it's Sean Payton and the Saints' 3rd round pick going to Denver for Denver's 2nd round pick and Miami's 1st round pick in this upcoming draft. But it's really funny to see Broncos fans being like, yeah, it was basically Bradley Chubb in a second because that's what they got. They got the Miami pick for the Bradley Chubb trade for Sean Payton in a 3rd. I would do that every day. And it's like, I don't think I would do that every day. I don't think I would do that any day.
Especially after like how many 3 first round picks or whatever it was that you gave up for Russell Wilson. Like you already gave away picks. It's not like in a vacuum. It's all related. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I was totally thinking in my head, I was like, oh, they still have their 1st round pick, so that's good. But I forgot that they gave that up and then to see it. So they recouped a 1st round pick, so they had a 1st round pick in this draft and immediately gave it away again. That is not good asset management. Okay. But yeah, it all comes back to go back to Peyton. It all comes back to hubris. He's just like, yeah, I can do it. I can fix this. It's fine. I've done it before. I can do it again. Yada yada yada. And they're going to be a dumpster fire all over again, probably.
Broncos. Can't wait to bet against them next year because I'm so good at betting.
Same.
So I'm sure it's going to go well for me.
Broncos country. Let's hide.
That's good. I like that. Oh, wow. Okay. All right. So here's what we're going to do. We're gonna just set up the Super Bowl. We're gonna run through the AFC Championship game, the NFC Championship game, storylines, things that stood out to us, and just like what is applicable from these games for the Super Bowl. Weirdly, I kind of don't think there's a ton, and we'll get into why. And you guys might disagree with me on that. It was a weird weekend, right? So we're going to get into that, and then we're just going to give you our gut reactions to what the lines are now. And then next week, we're going to give you all the props you can handle and make our official picks with the most up-to-date lines. That's the total. We're going to do a winner. We're going to pick against the spread, and then we're going to pick the total, the over-under. We'll see how that adjusts. We'll get some clarity on injuries. It's really hard, right? Because like we're not getting too much practice, we're not getting too much information, and there's 2 weeks, so people could heal. We're not going to hear about it. There's a lot of gamesmanship. It's tough, but we're going to try to get as much updated information between now and next week as possible, so that your bets can be the most informed. Our bets can be the most. Our bets can be the most informed, and then we'll go from there. And then after the Super Bowl, we're going to have one more final season wrap-up pod. The post-football depression will set in live. It's already begun based on my bets. And then we go into the long night. The long night coming off season.
Yes, sir.
But for now, we've got 3 more episodes, including this one that we're already running along on. So let's dive right in. I told you guys last week, no number 1 seed has won the Super Bowl since the Eagles in 2017 with Nick Foles. I would say Jalen Hurts is a little bit better than Nick Foles.
I would also say that the Eagles defense is better than that team's defense.
Yeah,
that gave up 500 passing yards to Tom Brady.
God, if you told me that Tom Brady would throw for 500 yards in a Super Bowl and lose the game, and then you also told me that Brock Purdy would start a game, end a game, and not have an incompletion and lose by over 20 points, like I would have parlayed those 2 things together for astronomical odds.
Well, the Philly special was ran out of an illegal formation, just in case anyone forgot.
And it's also still arguably probably one of the biggest sports mysteries in Boston this millennium of like what did Malcolm Butler do that they benched him for a majority of that game? Like,
do you think he pulled Steve Belichick's hair?
I don't know.
Was it long enough then?
He cut his mullet.
God, the world someday we'll know. But Malcolm Butler came back and re-signed with the Patriots. Was it last year? It was
He
like,
resigned,
oh,
got hurt, and then was put on IR, and then was released.
yeah, and then it was like once he came back, we were never going to find out. So maybe another 10 years. I don't know. All right. So the Eagles are a number 1 seed. The Chiefs are a number 1 seed.
Who could have thought that?
Something's gotta give. Super Bowl Sunday, February 12th, 6:30 p.m. Don't be late. It's Eastern time. Unlike other sporting events, this one actually starts on time. There's a lot of fanfare. They get it out of the way in advance. You want to tune in early because we're going to be telling you next week who we're betting for the national anthem over under. Yes, that is a real bet. Yes, we bet it every year and Venmo each other. Tom, I think you beat me last year, and I thought I had the inside track.
We've had inside sources the last couple of years.
Right. Yeah, you did. And then didn't tell me, and Carl and Tommy were secretly laughing like little children in a corner while they bet against me and took my money. So
we're doing the coin toss.
I just want to
too, right?
say, I'm just saying, guys. I'll be in Arizona. I don't know how early I gotta get to the stadium, but
are you actually going?
Yes, sir.
I didn't know that. So you're not going to the game though, or are you?
No, I don't really care about these teams. If the Patriots were there, if the 49ers or Bengals made it, I might have like really tried to get tickets, but I really don't want to go see this game. So
you have to at least camp out for the. Oh, true.
Camp out for the what?
Camp out for the sound check to time the.
That's what I'm saying. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, do you remember? Was there a San Francisco Super Bowl like when Levi Stadium opened? You like literally flew there and back.
I went to Super Bowl 50. Yeah,
flew there and back to see Peyton Manning. Except you didn't go into the game.
Correct.
You just like to be there for the Super Bowl.
I do.
It's a very Carl thing to do.
It is.
Well, maybe you can share your inside information with me this year since I'm down so bad, buddy. I would appreciate that. 6:30 p.m. in Arizona State Farm Stadium, home of the Cardinals. Cardinals won't be there. Neither will Cliff Kingsbury. He's off on his ayahuasca trip with his beautiful girlfriend in Thailand. Never to come home.
I thought he was with Jeffree Star in Wyoming. Is that not him?
Wow.
Are you guys not following along with that?
I am caught up on that.
I have no idea what we're talking about.
No, I don't. I really don't. You can explain it if you want, or we can keep going. You can tell me offline.
I'll send it in the group message.
Okay. Hopefully that's a good joke for anybody else out there. Eagles 14-3, number 1 seed in the NFC. Chiefs 14-3, number 1 seed in the AFC. Tack on 2 more victories for those teams, so they're both 16-3 if you include the playoffs. The line opened as Philadelphia by 2.5. It is currently down to Eagles by 1.5. Boys, Eagles are favored, but entering the playoffs, the Chiefs were the odds-on favorite to win the Super Bowl. And if you picked the exact result, I've been talking about for a month, 49ers over Bengals at 30-1. The Chiefs to beat the Eagles were the number 1 option. So Chiefs were favored to win the Super Bowl, and they were favored to beat the Eagles specifically. Why are the Eagles favored in this game?
Because they've had a more dominant run through the playoffs. The Chiefs needed a penalty to put themselves in position for the game-winning field goal, and the Eagles defeated the number 2 seed in a blowout in their conference. So I think it's just like obviously in the injury, Jalen Hurts could be healthier than Patrick Mahomes. It depends on how much theatrics Mahomes is putting into his ankle right now. Mm-hmm. But that definitely makes influences bettors when they're looking at the whole picture. So I think that's probably it for me, is that they were start to finish, they were the more dominant team in the playoffs. They were the more dominant team, and there's a case that they're the healthier team.
Yeah, I mean, some would say dominant, some would say easiest, but that's neither here nor there.
Chiefs had outside of the NFC East, the Chiefs had the easiest schedule in the NFL.
Yeah, well,
and yet they didn't have the easiest schedule in this game. Tommy, you suggest that stat. You want to tell us about it? 2 of you guys can take this one. Carl, you're the DVOA king. And
Tommy sent it.
You got this stat, so
No, so we have been talking about, and it's true, we have been talking about how the NFC East had the easiest schedule across all of football, and the three
Since
easiest
day one.
schedules. Yeah, and the three easiest schedules in the league were the Eagles, Cowboys, Giants, I believe, in that order.
Yep.
And we've been talking about that all year long, and it's been true. It's the reason. It's part of the reason why the Eagles have the record that they do. What I didn't know, and I just found out today, is that the fourth easiest schedule in the league belonged to the Kansas City Chiefs. And they're if Carl wants to explain how what the DVOA percentages works, it does, but I have the numbers for you.
Yeah. Start with that. Give us the numbers.
If the Eagles win the Super Bowl, they would be the fifth easiest schedule Super Bowl champion in the history since 1981. I think is when DVOA goes back to, at minus 5.9% when comparing to opponents. But at the same time, if the Chiefs win, they would have the ninth easiest strength of schedule for any Super Bowl champion going back to 1981 at minus 3.6%. So like, I don't know how weighted the percentages are. I don't know if like between negative 3.6 and negative 5.9 is like a giant chasm, or if it's, to me, I just see 2%, and then that's not that big of a difference, but it could be. I don't know the stats as well as you guys.
Yeah, I mean, it's based on, that's the average DVOA of their regular season opponents. So basically, on average, they were playing a team that was well underperforming, like playing worse than average. So they played bottom tier teams the whole way through. So the one on there in 1999, St. Louis, minus 15.5%.
Greatest show on turf, huh?
Great. Yeah. The teams they were playing were like well below average.
I mean, they faced 8-8 legend, what's his Titans head coach in the Super Bowl. So that should tell you.
Give me like 2 seconds here to pull up. I'll just pull up team DVOA and I'll see what teams this season were around those numbers. Just like not even weighted, just total DVOA.
Sounds good.
So
perspective.
Yep. So it would put at minus 3.6, which is Kansas City. That would put him at the 21st ranked DVOA team. This season, there's a big gap between 22 and 23. It was minus 4.9 to then minus 9.4. So, but basically they're playing not the lowest of low teams, because those were like in the minus 20s, but they were in that, like, if there were 4 tiers, the third tier down.
So do you have 21? Who's 21 and 23?
So 21 was the Giants, ironically enough, but I had been saying they were overperforming all year. 22 is Washington, and then 23 was Tennessee, and then your Minnesota Vikings were all the way down at 27.
Okay, so basically, it like I hate that, man. It's awful. You didn't have to do that. That's so rude of you. So rude. Basically, it was like the Chiefs and the Eagles played the Commanders every single
year. Right. And I mean, to be fair, they played them and the Giants twice in their season.
Mm-hmm.
Arizona, they definitely played in the season. I don't know who else they played, but yeah. I'm just looking at this and like, can't believe Minnesota was, the team that.
So all in all, moving on.
So basically, they played Minnesota every week. The games that they didn't play, like
they played Minnesota every week.
Cowboys, they played the Cowboys twice. Yeah,
they would have lost by 3 every week, and they wouldn't have known what happened. They would have been like, "How are we 3-13? How is Kirk Cousins so good?" And then they would play him in the playoffs, and then they would win. And
the famous 3-13 team that makes the playoffs.
But yeah, anyway,
all right.
But anyway. I would say I don't know what the average number is. Like, I would like to see this list of what the Super Bowl champion schedule does look like. I'd assume that it's probably closer to 0 or even higher, because typically the better teams in a season are usually good the year before, and then therefore have to play a harder schedule up until that point.
Right.
And whether they win those games or not, like, at least it makes them a better team, especially DVOA wise. But that being said, we don't have to transition into this. We can keep it on this season. But next season, The Eagles actually have the hardest strength of schedule because the opponents and stuff are already made. So
Right, because we know that. Yeah.
Well, yeah,
So
the East had 3 playoff teams in the NFC, so they're going to
yeah,
that's just the cyclical nature of it.
yes. But also now being the 1 seed in their division, they have to play the 1 seed from the other divisions too. So
Facts.
Always harder.
mhm.
So there is precedent for the team with the easiest schedule to win the Super Bowl. And I have been discounting the Eagles all season long because of it. And like, listen, because of their record, I figured they would be good. And then it was all going to be about like a matchup to me, which is why I rode with the Eagles to win until this point when I really firmly believed that the 49ers were the best team in football. And well, I don't even want to start with this game because there's other stuff that I want to cover in the AFC. We'll get to that because I have some theories and I have some questions. It doesn't make sense. That defense collapsed. That's what you need to know. But for the Chiefs on the other side, we haven't talked about this all year, but again, 4th easiest schedule by opponent DVOA. So either way, it's a team. This is what we've been saying. A team with an easy schedule is going to win. Listen, like we kind of hit this in the preseason pod. So like good job by us. I mean, I told you my preseason pick was actually like the Chiefs to win the Super Bowl. Tommy, you were on the Eagles. We were all pretty high on the Eagles in general. I don't know. How did we not see this coming? Oh wait, you did. Go ahead, brag. Bitch.
Wait, before we get off the strength of schedule stuff, did you know that San Francisco, I mean, it doesn't even matter anyway, but San Francisco's schedule was minus 5.8. So they were like 0.1 behind. So I feel like this would have been a narrative either way.
Yeah, they had a pretty easy schedule. It was weird. A lot of good teams had easy schedules this year.
I was gonna say,
Cincinnati had the 4th hardest at 4.2, like positive 4.2. The only teams that have a harder schedule than them were the Jets, the Steelers, and the Dolphins.
And I mean, and then in the championship game, they had to play against the Chiefs and the refs.
Yeah, I mean, you said it.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, Carl, you were the chief, no pun intended, the chief angriest Chief supporter. Very upset about the refs. I don't know did anything stand out to you? I say that jokingly. I know everything stood out to you.
Yeah.
But go ahead.
I've had some time to cool down, so my rant is not going to be as exciting. Sometimes I almost think like we should record the podcast like immediately following
in the
games.
moment. Yeah,
and
we
just
should.
like
We should
and
be
just
angry.
like yeah.
You just got to do what I do and bury it just shallow enough that you can bring it out while you're talking about it again.
I don't know. I don't know. It is what it is. It's annoying. It's frustrating. I don't think the hit out of bounds is. I think it's the call that they make all the time. I just don't agree with it because in real time, it's tough to like stop. I've said this. I've gone on this rant many times before, and it goes to like sideline running and it goes to like midfield running quarterbacks where sometimes they'll slide late and they'll take a hit, and sometimes they'll go for the extra yard, and you don't know in real time like which one they're going to do. And as a defender, you can't make that decision in a live time. And then again, running for the sideline, like again, situationally, if it's 3rd down, they're probably going for the 1st down. He's trying to get as many yards as he can, but he's going down the sideline and then steps out at the last minute. It's not like he could have avoided contact altogether by getting out of bounds with plenty of time and like giving himself a direct route out of bounds instead of running out of bounds and up. I mean, I don't know. I didn't think there was like a full shove to the ground on the late hit. I think he puts his arm out to like, because he's running in front of him. And
yeah,
it's a freak play where he trips over a guy, they go crashing to the sideline. He sells it a little bit, in my opinion. I said it was a LeBron level flop in the moment. It might have been a little excessive, but you know, I don't know. I thought that he played it and it worked out. And again, like I agree with that call being made if it's going to be called all the time, but I've seen people get hit on the sideline and not get that call. I've seen people get hit on the sideline and not that call. And I think that the refs in that moment just have to say, hey, we're not going to give this 15 yards to put them in field goal range. If it's 15 yards to give him a shot at a Hail Mary, I'm fine with that. But 15 yards to give them from where they were not going to kick that field goal. And if they kick that field goal, I mean, it's a 30% field goal maybe from there. I don't know. Mm-hmm. But give them the 15 yards, and it's the warm-up kick that they do every single day.
It was a bang play. I think it's ultimately the right call, but I think if it was like Kenny Pickett, there's no flag.
Okay, I agree.
I think if they're in Hail Mary range and not field goal range, it doesn't get called. And I agreed with you on Osai. Like, I thought it was honestly, like, here's the thing. First of all, Patrick Mahomes doesn't have a fucking right ankle. Okay. And so for you to allow him to roll out and sprint and scramble that way, I think they were probably caught off guard by it, but I think they were so.
Were they caught off guard, or were the linemen, all three linemen that were rushing, being held?
Extremely held, which they were being held the entire game, and it was not going both ways. That was the biggest thing that we were upset about, Carl, was the Chiefs were being the Bengals were being held the whole game. It wasn't being called, and there's a lot of ticky-tack stuff going the other way. Listen, to me, like,
and it's not just like the non-calls like that. It's like a third down play where there's a 5-yard holding penalty immediately. Like, it's like, again, I understand, like, you're going to call it if it's a penalty, and when they show the replay and there's a penalty there, fine. But you're not showing the replay of every single play where that's happening on every single play. It's just third down, and like, I'm ready to throw this flag as soon as Eli Apple puts his hands on this guy because it's an easy call.
So, and not to like dive, because I want to finish my thought on Osai. So I'll do that. I'll finish my thought on
finish
Osai,
your thought.
And Tommy, I know you want to talk about him too. So we'll do that, and then we'll talk about the third and 9 and Eli Apple and that mystery hold and all that shit. So I just think it's ultimately the right call. I thought it was kind of ticky-tack in the moment, and it felt like it was right there. And I think Osai's like trying desperately. Like, I felt bad for the guy. I think he's trying desperately to catch up to Mahomes and just make sure he doesn't cut back in. To your point, Carl, like, is he going to slide? Is he going to cut back in? Obviously, situational awareness, you got to know the clock. I thought he was kind of stumbling, and then you see the way that he falls. I don't know how he walked off the field. He totally hyperextended his left knee, and then he immediately got that medical attention. I didn't think that was like a soccer injury BS type of thing. I thought that was legit. He hyperextended that knee and then was able to bounce back. But you have to be aware of where you are in the game, what game this is, and
who the quarterback is on the other team. And like where they are in the field to be able to, like, you want to finish the play. And I think he's stumbling, and then it's like he just adds the shove, and you got to be better than that. And that's a rookie mistake by a genuine rookie who's been really good this year, and he messed up, and I think he's going to replay that in his mind every night for the rest of his life. Well, I think, like, I don't think – see, he puts one arm out, and that's what makes me think that he didn't try and shove him. I think he sees someone, like, getting in his way as he's going this way and the other guy's going this way, and he puts his arm out to, like, I don't know, like, instinctually, you know what I mean?
Right.
And again, like I said, I think they see Mahomes go down. I think they see him throw his arms up, and it's in Kansas City. The crowd's going crazy. There's 8 people falling on the sideline from every person sliding across them.
Right.
You know, so it's like they're going to throw the flag. But what pisses me off too is, like, sorry for my language, Mrs. Bradley. What bothers me is the ref that's trailing the play. The ref that's right there on the sideline doesn't throw the flag. It comes in from, like, the side judge downfield. It's like, you don't have like
the authority. You're not the guy who should call that.
Why are you throwing the flag? You probably can't even see with all the people that are, like, running right there, and there's a guy 5 yards away that doesn't call anything. So that's what bothers me. But
Tommy, tell us why we're wrong.
So I agree that Mahomes went down easy. I agree that the refs had an absolutely terrible day. And like I said earlier, the Bengals had to play both the Chiefs and the refs. It's not that if it was another quarterback, they weren't getting that call. Any quarterback, any NFL player in any running back, if you shove a running back where how far, it wasn't a bang bang. It wasn't Mahomes was going out of bounds. Asai was out of bounds with Mahomes when the contact happened. That's getting called every single time. I sent you guys a photo in the group message. The contact happens as both players are Mahomes is near the green turf of the bench. He's closer to the green turf of the bench than he is to the field. That call is getting called every single time. It wasn't a good day for the refs, but like you can't that's not ticky-tacky. That's black and white. That is it's a 15-yard personal foul. It's a terrible. I feel bad for the kid, but it's a learning experience. It's something that that's going to get called every time. That's the one play I have zero qualms with. Zero.
Who's this guy? I'm watching the replay back. Who's this guy on the sideline? If you
I
watch,
do feel bad for the medical trainer whose head slams on the bench.
Hold on.
I don't know if you guys saw that.
Hold on. I can't figure out who this guy is. He's a cornerback. I'm trying to find another angle. He's standing there like with his hands up.
Like, hand up. Like, what are you doing?
As he's pushing him, or like as Mahomes is getting pushed, the cornerback is just like
He's so mad.
throws his hands up like no.
Yeah.
But again, I'm watching it and there's a ref right there and he doesn't throw the flag. Or maybe he does. I don't know. But there's a flag that comes in flying from the side.
I also understand the argument of like it's the playoffs. They should probably put the flags away, like call less penalties over the course of the game. Yes, but this is like it's one of those that like it's too egregious that they had to call it.
Carl, to your point about refs, I think this is so in the playoffs, they put together like quote unquote like all-star teams of refs.
I hate it.
And I think that that's a problem because there's a chemistry and a flow to how a crew calls a game, and then to just pick and choose random refs who don't work together all year and throw them into a playoff game. Asinine to me.
I mean, we saw that come to a head with the replayed third down.
Yeah,
that crew had no communication with each other about what was going on.
Exactly.
Okay. Yeah, right. Exactly. So I was watching the broadcast, obviously. I mean, how else would I watch it? But so they showed like after the fact, like, oh, like here's the like a zoomed out view, and the guy starts running in and then stops. But there's been so many times where I've seen a referee start to run in and just keep running in, waving his hands, blowing the whistle, and at that point, if the play goes on, there's a very clear indication like, nope, this guy was running in the middle. Somebody like saw it, slowed down, like they could hear the whistle, whatever. That guy stopped like 5 steps in and just like lets the play happen. And then all of a sudden they're like, no, he was trying to stop the play. It had no effect on the play.
Yeah.
It was insane.
It's infuriating. And then the next play they get the sack and they're like, oh, they're good. And they call that hold on Eli Apple, which here's my thing. You got to have rules. So there's got to be a line. And I get that. And so like, we want rules to be objective, but I also just think after you monumentally screw up the way you did with that ref trying to come in, trying to yell, nobody can hear it. It doesn't change the play. You should just be out of there. Mahomes, there's 3 guys on him immediately. In that short amount of time, like how many times have we seen Patrick Mahomes just flip the ball away? Like flip the ball, check down, throw it away. Like he's Patrick freaking Mahomes. He's the most talented quarterback in the NFL. Like, I'm sorry. He was dead to rights getting sacked on that play. The hold did not affect it. I get that a rule is a rule, but I just think like if you're getting sacked and it's like, I understand. How can we possibly be?
And it was, I know that like, the 5-yard penalty, the 5-yard contact rule does not apply to being held, understandably. But like the contact didn't initiate with a hold. It was like they were fighting, they were hand fighting each other. Then he tries to break out and then he gets held as he's trying to break out. But the sack is already in the process of happening.
Right. Which is like rules are rules. And so I don't really know what the answer to this is. But sometimes it feels like there needs to be an ounce of subjectivity. Because here's the thing, because then it's like, well, if you introduce the subjectivity to it, then the NFL can just write the game script. And I'm here to tell you guys They already do.
Yeah, that's fair.
They already do. So, and everybody already believes that. Like, there's no way Vegas is as good as Vegas is without a little bit of help. And I think it's always been that way. I think it always will be that way. It's more WWE than anybody wants to admit, especially because we have real life dollars on it, and so many people would go to jail forever. But that's just the way that it is. And so if we already all think this, just add a little bit of like, no. Also, like, if it's anybody but Eli Apple, do they call that?
That's what I was gonna say. He deserved
yeah.
a little bit of a karma humble pie served to him for how he's been acting over the last couple of weeks, and actually his whole career, because he's not good and he acts like he's a top 5 corner.
Okay, so we need to move on from the refs, but I'm going to circle back quickly here. Do we think there was too much shit talking by the Bengals heading into this game? Just to recap, Burrow starts in his post-game interview on the field after beating the Bills saying, you better get those refunds. Because reminder, if the Bills had won that game to play the Chiefs, they're playing a neutral site game in Atlanta for the AFC Championship game. Then you have Eli Apple, once again, making fun of DeMar Hamlin, essentially, on Twitter, saying 1, 2, 3 Cancun, and then doing like the heart emoji, which was DeMar Hamlin's thing.
They actually said Cancun on 3.
Okay, yeah.
Which
yeah, right. Well, right. Cancun on 3. 3 is DeMar's number. He does the hearts. Like, I'm sorry, you can't be like, oh, that it was just a coincidence. It's not a coincidence. Like, shut the hell up, Eli Apple. Okay, and then you have Burrowhead, which is also a cornerback. Who said that? I'm blanking on his name right now. He got burned on a major play on a touchdown in that game. So Burrowhead. So the question that I have is, can we just get cornerbacks collectively? Can we ask cornerbacks to please just shut the fuck up?
They're the cockiest position in the whole team. So
yeah, like just to quote Travis Kelce, know your role and shut your mouth.
Well, it's like in the national championship game when TCU was down 45-3 and Ohio State threw an incomplete pass, and one of the TCU cornerbacks does like the full incomplete celebration.
Exactly.
It's like, bro.
It's insane. Also, as far as Burrowhead, I would just like to go on record, and hindsight's 2020. Burrow was 3-0 against Mahomes. I told you this last week, every single one of those games was by 3 points, and 2 of the games were in Cincinnati. So I get that it was the AFC Championship game and you went into Kansas City last year and won, but I also told you last week about how easy it is to go into Kansas City and win. So there's no reason to call it Burrowhead. That's the dumbest shit. And it just like Bill Belichick would he makes me so mad. This would never happen on a Bill Belichick team to this scale. The
that
amount
quarterback
of
wouldn't have started.
Yeah, no,
well,
he'd be with Malcolm Butler in prison somewhere.
I have another thing to add. I'll start back at the beginning though. I don't think the refunds thing is fuel for the fire, because I feel like that's more at the Bills fans being like, oh, like you thought it was going to be on a neutral site. Kansas City, like they probably had their home tickets and their whatever tickets anyway.
I'm going to interject back in though, because I agree with you. It's not so much at the Chiefs,
but it is a confidence like over
and it's kind of a shot at the NFL. And guess who screwed the Bengals this week?
True.
The NFL. Because Zach Taylor went out there in his press conference this week. Like, when do you ever hear this happen? And he goes out there like super facetious, like not even tongue in cheek, just like, oh, guys, like I really want to apologize to all the people in the league office who had to coordinate that Atlanta game. And extra apologies to all those people who are going to have to coordinate and process those refunds now.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Really tough. Really sorry about that one, guys. So like, that's another one.
I kind of like that.
Listen, in the moment, I was like, this is funny. In hindsight, this is just on my bullet head list of all the dumb shit talking you did before you lost this game.
Yeah, and then that's team related. You didn't even talk about the mayor.
I was gonna say the 2 egregious ones were Burrowhead on its own. It's a terrible pun. If his name was Barrowhead, that would make sense. Burrowhead is you're just taking like it's not.
Welcome to Bradyhead Stadium.
Yeah, exactly. It's the same thing. It's not funny. It doesn't Don't even
Yeah.
get me started on Burrowhead and the idiocy of it. The other thing is the mayor. And the entire city of Cincinnati was collectively worse this past week than the city of Buffalo has been for the past 3 years.
That's yes. And if I'm gonna give
And
Buffalo shit for that every week all year, then Cincinnati deserves it as well. It was annoying as hell.
And last year, the whole I guess like perception of Cincinnati was like, oh, like they're good losers. Like even after they lost to the Rams in the
lovable
Super Bowl,
losers.
they're like, whatever, we're just glad to be here. Now all of a sudden they're just like,
They're villains now.
This
They're
is
all-
ours.
Everybody hates them now, and
I think we got season tickets.
It's our birthright to win the Super Bowl this year. Didn't you? We decreed it.
literally straight out of the Josh Allen Buffalo Bills playbook, and it's a great point, Tommy. You're spot on. Yeah. So just to put a cap on the mayor, in case you didn't see, he made a legal document, a proclamation. I won't read the whole thing to you. You can find it. But it ends. He made a like you know how like we get Pat Bradley Day for going 0-6 on his conference championship bets. Like he named it "They Gotta Play Us Day." Worst name of all time.
Mm-hmm. Did he spell day D-A-Y like who day, or did he miss that opportunity as well?
That would have been a good pun.
Thank you.
They should hire you for the mayor's office.
What an idiot.
He missed it. And then like they're making, like I told you I wasn't gonna read this, but like the last one that's like literally in the city of Cincinnati letterhead proclamation. The last one is Kansas City is named after its neighboring state, which is, just kind of weird. Cool, bro.
Yeah. Joe Burrow, asking Joe Burrow to take a paternity test to see if he was Patrick Mahomes' father.
Oh my God.
Did you not see that? That's one of those.
I did. I forgot. It's just, it's so bad. It's so bad. You've won by a combined total of 9 points. We've had spreads bigger than that in the postseason.
Yeah.
God. All right.
I said it beforehand. If this costs him his next mayoral election, I wouldn't be surprised, and it would be honest. It would be probably deserved, to be honest. Because where's your focus if you're spending all of your time on that?
There's a line between like having fun as a politician and like making an ass of yourself. And he made an act, even if they had won.
90% politicians do that too. So
here's my question: what's the miracle drug that Patrick Mahomes was injected with?
He takes a bath of Toradol.
After the game, Patrick Mahomes thanked God. He said, "I just want to thank God for healing my body this week." Can I just say, I believe in God. I believe in miracles. God did not heal Patrick Mahomes' high ankle sprain to go play football.
Oh.
He didn't magically water into wine that shit. You just are hopped up on a lot of drugs, and or the Chiefs medical staff lied about your injury diagnosis for gamesmanship. Leave God out of it.
Well, Miss Piggy actually gave it a little kiss before I got on the field. And I rubbed it in ketchup.
Why haven't we been doing this for 22 weeks?
Thank
did. That was really
Thank you,
good.
Patrick, for coming on the pod and telling us that.
Shout out to Pat coming on.
He did shout out one of the trainers, Julie, though, for leading the charge.
He gave a shout out to a female trainer, and Brittany Mahomes hasn't made a TikTok about it yet.
Jackson Mahomes is trying to figure out where he's going to dance this weekend.
No, but really though, like I think it was interesting how he was totally fine throughout the week, walking without a limp, and then when he had a couple bad plays and when the game started getting closer, it was interesting that the limp started to come back into his while he was walking off and on the field.
Literally,
it sounds like you hated to root for the Chiefs this weekend.
I know.
You should have picked the Bengals with us.
You should have.
No, I put my money where the smart move is, and then I have to root for. I didn't enjoy it, but I had to do it, and we'll see if I have to do it again in a couple weeks. Hint: no.
I just was like,
are you picking Kelsey or Kelsey?
Probably Jason, just because he might have a double-digit IQ, whereas Travis has a single-digit IQ.
You know, I found out. I don't know how true it is because I'm not personally friends with them, but apparently it's pronounced Kels, but everyone just calls them Kelsey because
I mean,
But-
that's phonetically
yeah.
it's Kelsey. So I would not be surprised if they got their own name pronunciation wrong. So
No, phonetically is not Kelsey. Phonetically, it should be Kels.
depends
there
on
wasn't
if-
a-
Potato,
there wasn't-
potato.
If there wasn't an E, it would be Travis Kelk.
Kelcher. It's a H sound. Kelch.
they're Celtic.
If Matt Judon can have a sack and a big hard hit in a game and get quote unquote randomly drug tested, shouldn't Patrick Mahomes, who couldn't walk last week but was magically okay on Sunday, get tested as well?
100%.
Or
Do we
Travis
think-
Kelsey, who passed Julian Edelman for postseason receiving yards.
Yeah, like pee in a cup, Travis Kelk. I already gave you the NFL's in bed with Las Vegas rant, so I won't do it again. But just a reminder that over 80% of the money was on the Bengals, and then all of a sudden Patrick Mahomes had a mystery. It's like, ooh, mystery injury. Not that mystery, but like we don't know what the diagnosis is. Everybody bet on the Bengals. What happened?
Pat Bradley.
Can we get Joe Burrow a fucking offensive line and a better training staff in Cincinnati so that they don't all get hurt?
Who broke this game down last week and said this?
Next.
Next question. We can all agree that Joe Burrow and Patrick Mahomes are the two best quarterbacks in football, right? Because it's not Josh Allen.
Oh wait, I do actually have a response. Sorry. My follow-up
okay.
question to the offensive line. Would you rather have Penei Sewell or Jamar Chase?
It's a great question.
Jamar Chase.
I agree. But
Uh,
you brought up the offensive line concerns.
It's a really great point. I would definitely rather.
I feel
have
like
Jamar
there's
Chase.
one Jamar
In-
Chase, and you could have linemen that maybe are not.
in a
Full
vacuum,
agree.
sure. I think I would rather have just to throw some more on this fire. I'd rather have Penei Sewell, T. Higgins, Taj Boyd, and Hayden
Tyler Boyd.
Hurst as opposed Tyler Boyd. Sorry,
Clemson
thinking
star Taj Boyd.
God.
You
and
did
then
say
I-
a person. He's just not this person.
yeah.
Maybe Taj Boyd could play left tackle. He's like
But-
6'2". I met him once.
Put Penei Sewell with those weapons as opposed to adding another weapon to those weapons.
I would just argue I like T. Higgins a lot.
Future Patriot.
Hopefully.
Is T. Higgins
T. Higgins actually said he's going to wear number 5 next year because
I saw
Ocho
that.
Cinco's 85. So it sounds like he's staying with Cincinnati.
and he wore number 5 in college.
Still trade him.
Like is T. Higgins as good as he is if you don't have Jamar Chase drawing all that coverage? Just saying. He's good. He's really
He's
good.
all right.
Just saying. Burrow and Mahomes, two best quarterbacks in football because it's not Josh Allen. It's not Herbert. It's not Jalen Hurts. Although respect.
No, I think they are.
It's not Lamar Jackson.
Oh,
It's not Tua. It's not Tom Brady or Aaron Rodgers. And it's sure as shit not Pro Bowl quarterback Tyler Huntley.
One of them is a Pro Bowler, and the rest of them are not. I mean, there's a case to be made.
You're still a Pro Bowler if you get named to the Pro Bowl and then don't go. And
That's
this
not what-
year,
that's not what the
we
my
have-
history books say.
we have 9 Pro Bowl quarterbacks from the AFC. We could not believe this in our group text today. Like, we won't spend time on this. Tyler Huntley got named to the Pro Bowl today. He threw 2 touchdown passes this season. So he got named today along with Derek Carr and Trevor Lawrence because we had Burrow, Allen, Mahomes as the first 3, and then Herbert, Tua, and Lamar Jackson as the alternates, who all said no. We told you about Josh Allen playing in the Pebble Beach this week. I just want to know if Tyler Huntley can throw 2 touchdown passes and make a Pro Bowl. Where the hell is Bailey Zappi's invitation? And did it get lost in the mail?
Where's Mike White?
I was thinking, yeah, that's actually what I was thinking, and then I had to make it about Bailey Zappi.
Of course you did.
So I don't. So the internet is all freaking out about Tyler Huntley. I still think it's wild that Trevor Lawrence did not make the first. Was like
The first
second
6,
choice.
7,
Yeah.
8.
First. Like, how is Lamar Jackson a choice for him over Trevor Lawrence? It's wild.
I agree.
He's right there with Burrow in terms of top 5 QBs in the AFC. He's
Who would
right
you
there
take?
with Herbert. Sorry.
In a vacuum right now, all things being equal, and like I'm not even going to tell you because I think you need to match the style of your team to this quarterback. But all things being equal, and we're not even going to name the style, who would you take right now starting a team for the next 5 years? We're not talking about salary. We're not talking about age. We're just talking about this is the talent Everything else is the same. Same contract, same age. If we could do that magically, Pat Mahomes
No
or
injuries?
Joe Burrow. No injuries. Mahomes or Burrow, who are you taking?
I think either way, you have a good quarterback. I think I'm taking Mahomes.
I think I'm gonna take Burrow because he's got the big game history.
Says the non-Super Bowl champion about the Super Bowl champion.
Yeah. I just think that he's had to do a little bit more.
I don't disagree with that.
I would also argue Josh Allen if he had the right surrounding cast.
I think he has it, and we've seen it, and
His IQ crumbles in the playoffs.
like not for nothing. Like Joe Burrow's already passed Josh Allen to me. Joe Burrow has done more in 3
definitely.
years than Josh Allen's done in like 5 or 6, whatever he has. So that's sorry, Buffalo. Not really. You know how I feel about you. I'm going with Mahomes. I love Joe Burrow. I think Joe Burrow is the closest thing to Tom Brady we've had since Tom Brady, who does still play football. But Mahomes, this was the analogy I thought of. Like this was his like Brady's 2006, where like Rashae Caldwell was his number 1 wide receiver, and he looks like a deer in headlights every time the ball's coming his way. That's Patrick Mahomes just elevates guys.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm not saying that Joe Burrow can't. He's just loaded with talent, and yeah, I'm going
to
Mahomes.
me. To me, it came down to like they're obviously very similar, but when a play breaks down, Patrick Mahomes is arguably the best quarterback ever at like making something out of nothing.
Yeah, 1,000%. I agree. Which is kind of where what it all boils down to. And then he can do everything else that Joe Burrow and Tom Brady can do pretty much as well. Okay, Super Bowl MVP, regular season MVP, worlds colliding here, right? We have an MVP curse in the Super Bowl. If you win the MVP in the regular season and make it to the Super Bowl, you lose. Since the turn of the century, this has not happened. We have not had an MVP win the Super Bowl since 1999. Kurt Warner did it in 99. Terrell Davis did it in 1998. Brett Favre did it in 1996.
So we're due.
In theory, we are due. In theory. Patrick Mahomes is going to win the MVP. Jalen Hurts is probably going to finish number 2. Unless something gets crazy with those Vegas odds, which I don't think it is. I think Vegas knows. Mahomes is going to win.
Yeah.
So are the Chiefs cursed?
No. I think they're primed for a parlay.
Okay.
Oh, baby.
Okay.
If I get up to New Hampshire, when are they announcing these?
The week before the game.
Okay, cool. So if I get up to if I get up to New Hampshire this weekend, I might do a little Mahomes MVP, Chiefs Super Bowl win, Mahomes Super Bowl MVP parlay.
I'm sorry. Are you trying to reverse jinx us right now? Are you going with the Chiefs?
Yeah.
Save that.
Oh.
Save that.
You're right. God damn it. God damn it. No, because
great.
I don't want to bet them. You're right.
Just
I'd still do it.
a little bit of history here. Regular season MVPs to go to the Super Bowl and lose since the turn of the century. Kurt Warner again, 2001. Rich Gannon, 2002. Sean Alexander, 2005. Tom Brady, 2007. Peyton Manning, 2009 and 2013. Cam Newton, 2015. Matt Ryan, 2016. Tom Brady again, 2017.
So it's not like the status for lack of it. Like it's not like there has been a minimal amount of regular season MVPs that made this
about a
Super Bowl.
third of the time the regular season MVP
More.
goes to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, 9 in 22 years. That's almost half.
Okay, all right. Yeah, I thought it was 8. Yeah, 9 and 22. So almost like 45% of the time you get a regular season MVP in the Super Bowl, and they have not won the Super Bowl in this century.
Damn.
Just a fun fact. Okay, let's jump over to the NFC, the Eagles and the 49ers. Listen, not a lot to talk about in this one, but here's what I've got for you guys. The 49ers had the first or second best run defense by every single metric. Total yards, DVOA, you name it. They were a top 2 run defense. But they actually were not great against running quarterbacks. Didn't really matter in this game. Jalen Hurts didn't really hurt them on the ground. But the Eagles in general ran for 150 yards. Nobody had 50 rushing yards in this game. They spread the love around. Carl, you sent me this stat. The Eagles were the best pass defense with 0 pre-snap motion, number 1 in the NFL. But when there was any pre-snap motion, audible, anything, they dropped to 22nd
Jesus.
in the NFL. Really bad. So the 49ers had essentially the best defense of football. The Eagles had a great defense, but against so they both had a weak schedule. I know the Brock Purdy injury changes everything. He tore his UCL. We're probably never going to see the guy again. I feel terrible. I'm so disappointed about it. Josh Johnson, horrendous. Probably going to end his 15-year NFL odyssey, right?
Hopefully.
Somehow 15 years.
My question is, well, first of all, what went wrong for the 49ers beyond, like, okay, the offense is one thing, right? Like, you're on your 4th quarterback of the year, but that defense is bona fide really freaking good.
Yeah.
And I was going to tell you that it was a bunch of short scoring drives, and it wasn't. Okay. 66 yards on a touchdown, a 75-yard touchdown drive. They did have one short one right before the half on that turnover, 30 yards, but then a 91-yard touchdown drive.
I hate to say this because I feel like professional athletes don't just give up, but I think there was
once Purdy went down,
there was the drop that they didn't challenge that got the Eagles their first touchdown. That was a 4th down play. So they got 7 points out of that when San Francisco should have had a shorter field.
Mm-hmm.
Then Purdy goes down and they give up another score, and your quarterback can't go back in. You have a backup quarterback in Josh Johnson, and you're trying to do everything you can, and he's just not the quarterback. Like, not only is he the 2nd quarterback in the game, but he's the fourth quarterback on the roster. They didn't even have a backup after him as a quarterback. They were both running backs. It was Christian McCaffrey and the fullback Kyle Juszczyk. So
not only did thank you for saying that. Not only did they not have a 3rd quarterback on the active roster, they didn't have a practice squad quarterback.
Yeah, that's how far down they were. And obviously that's like a season-long thing, but like, so I think when you're in that spot, you're losing, you see your quarterback that got you that point, that had won how many, 7 games in a row, whatever it was, get you to that point. And then a guy comes in that can't do anything for you and is dropping the ball and not picking it up, like literally giving it over to the other team. I think that like the defense is just like, why there's nothing we can do on defense is going to even allow our offense to move the ball. So like you said, like they didn't have short drives to give up points. The defense, again, they probably didn't quit because like they're professional athletes, but like I'm sure every time that the ball gets advanced just a little bit further, it's that thing that's like, well, our offense is not going to be able to help us out. So like they're just giving everything they have, and it just wears on them over the course of the game. It's the Denver Broncos effect. The Denver Broncos had a really good defense all season, but when your offense can't do anything, it's like, what are you going to do?
Tampa Bay Buccaneers, man.
Yeah. Patriots.
Yeah. I'm with you. It blows my mind that they didn't even have a practice squad quarterback that, like, obviously you can't elevate them in the middle of a game, but like they had a guy, Eason, I think. I want to say he's like an ex-Florida guy, but I'm probably wrong on that.
No, I think you're right. Jacob Eason. I think he might have been an ex-Colt too.
Maybe. It might not be Jake. It might be like Tarek. I'm totally blanking on this guy's name, but they had a practice squad quarterback at one point, and they cut him. They elevated 2 guys from the practice squad for this game. It was Tevin Coleman and like Janoris Jenkins for depth, who I don't think even saw the field. It just blew my mind that they didn't even have one in the building, which means your guy, Josh Johnson, who was the backup and had to go run with the ones in the actual NFC Championship game, was running the scout team. He was pretending to be Jalen Hurts all week, not running the 49ers offense.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry. Like, that is inexcusable. You don't need Janoris Jenkins or Tevin Coleman. You do need your backup to be ready to enter the game with a Super Bowl trip on the line.
So yes, it was Jacob Eason that they had signed, and they released him on January 3rd. But yeah, I completely. So like this goes back to, I don't know how long I've been saying this, but Kyle Shanahan is a great coach, but he makes mercurial decisions that just it
Kind of a knucklehead.
he can torpedo a season, and he's done it multiple times for multiple seasons, and that is because the defense was just so underprepared because they didn't have any. They didn't, like, if you don't have a practice squad quarterback, like, how many times do we hear Belichick credit the practice squad team for prepping the defense for a specific matchup and like getting to that point? And I mean, it's just one of those things that like it just comes down to like those little preparation details that are just. I feel like those are missing in Kyle Shanahan's game. Great coach, but there's just little pieces of he has just little blind spots that he can't get over the hump with those.
All right. So I think it comes down to can we take anything away from this game for the Eagles? That's my question.
I think it's been the same thing all season long. They've played really well against really bad teams. Like their DVOA is high. They're performing above average compared to like what is expected against these bad opponents. So it's not like they're I don't know, just pick a team, the Minnesota Vikings, where they're winning games but underperforming in those games.
Like the drive-by shootings in this episode have been
fruiting.
But so I don't know. I mean, it's tough to say. It's really tough in my mind. Like just thinking logically, they have a good DVOA. They have good performances against bad teams or teams in less fortunate situations like the 49ers. But when you have to go out there and play a meaningful game and you start getting like pushed back against, like, are they going to be able to hold it or are they going to like fall apart? Because they haven't had, they've had losses this season. The first one coming against the Commanders, which I don't think we saw coming. And that's not a really good team. That just is a division opponent that like got hyped up for that game. Then they lost a couple games down the stretch, but they were arresting people. They didn't want to get hurt. They knew they had their spots locked up. They could have started their starters whenever they wanted to win one game to clinch anything they needed. They already knew their path was like determined for the most part. And then you get in the playoffs and you have a bye week. You have a division opponent that you saw already a few times and was not a good team throughout the season anyway, and the Giants blew them out. And then you play this game where there's, star quarterback, but also the third string quarterback gets hurt in the first quarter of the game. So I don't know. They haven't really had to face anything all season. And we talked about that with being the easiest record at the beginning of the season, projected wise, and also throughout the whole season, DVOA wise. So Kansas City, I mean, they've been here, they've done it before. They might come to play and the Eagles might fall apart.
That was the toughest defense left available for the Eagles, and they annihilated it. But this is the most potent offense that they will have faced all season, let alone the postseason, all season, period. End of story. And just for everyone keeping score at home, quarterbacks that the Eagles have faced this postseason, 2 games, 4 quarterbacks. Daniel Jones, Brock Purdy, Josh Johnson, Christian McCaffrey, who's not a quarterback. Now you got to go play Patrick Mahomes.
He threw one pass, and it should have been intentional grounding, but I think they let him get away with it because he's not a quarterback. Because he threw that across the field to nobody.
I was like, literally,
if they really call intentional grounding right now, I'm shutting this TV off.
I was waiting for. I thought they were going to. Okay. There's more that we can do. We've been talking too long, and there isn't even a game this week. I saw a tweet this week that was like, I negotiated with my wife and told her I'd give up football next weekend if I can watch the 2 games today. I feel like we need to just stop talking about football this week so that we can watch it in 2 weeks.
Let me just end on one quick thought. I think the early thoughts is the micro matchup of this game is the arguably the best offensive line one of the best offensive lines of all time on Philly versus Frank Clark and Chris Jones. I think that's the micro matchup. But we can delve more into that next week. I have thoughts on that.
Who do you think Travis Kelce's and Jason Kelce's? Who do you think Mrs. Kelce is rooting for?
Oh, she's gonna have a stitched up halfway jersey. She's just rooting for health.
I know, but like deep down, at her core,
who
does she want to see happy and who does she want to see cry?
They've both won it in the last couple of years.
I know.
I think
who does
Travis
she feel worse seeing cry?
So I think
probably Jason.
I don't want to give anything away yet. I don't know if this is where I'm going yet, but I think the best chance of an MVP going to one of the brothers would be if the Chiefs were to win.
Yeah.
If you catch what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I do.
So they both already have rings, but if someone could happen to win an MVP trophy, that would be nice for the Kelce household.
I can totally see that happening. 14 catch Super Bowl for Travis Kelce. Totally.
Depends. He almost didn't play in the AFC Championship game, so
almost, quote unquote.
He's gonna get some
we didn't even
Patrick's
talk about
secret
that.
stuff.
All right.
They're gonna share a Toradol tub.
Carl, should we do a parlay party this week? I just want to dance. I don't really have a parlay for you. I just kind of want us to dance. What do you think?
We can dance.
Okay. All right, DJ, let's take us out. Spin up that track. We don't have a parlay for you. I did one, but it's bad. We'll talk about it next week. Listen, here's what we're going to tell you. Next week, all the props you can handle. We're going to talk about line movement. We're going to talk about injuries, and we are going to make our official game picks. We're going to have props. We're going to have same game parlays. We're going to have single game daily fantasy, maybe. I don't even know. Like, we are ready. We are excited. We are betting on inanimate objects, Gatorade colors, and national anthems. This is our Super Bowl.
This is America.
Let's go.
America.
Wait, quick shout out before we go on the parlay party.
Please.
Legalized sports betting in Massachusetts, apparently.
In person.
Officially today, you can bet at casinos. It was supposed to be ready for the NCAA tournament online, and I saw in the news right before we jumped on that it said in the next few months it will be legal.
Yikes.
Oh, bummer,
Which is such a letdown.
well. Looks like you guys are driving the 10 minutes up to New Hampshire.
Oh no.
All right, DJ, spin up that track. That's right. Tommy, take us out.
Good luck at your local sportsbook, everybody.
Sean Payton, let's ride.
$100 million man.